Hello, welcome back to All for United WSC. I don't even hear. Am I? Oh, am I here? I don't know. Am I back? I don't know what's going on. I might have to do this on my phone because this is horrendous and doing my edit. Yes, I am very stressed, as Barry just put in the chat. Welcome. This is supposed to be such a great show. We've obviously got a new contract to talk about, which we'll start with. But I'm now stressed and annoyed because it keeps freezing and I'm trying to sort my laptop out.
We can see and hear you though, Connor. All is well.
But there we are. Anyway, there's a lot of chat about the rumours of why we're late. So just, I can't believe half of these. What's going on here? At least Ella was nice.
That makes it smell like a tyre. Just have to get the old pump out.
I can't believe it. Keris, if you're watching this back, by the way, or if Keris's family are watching this back, I can't believe the first thing that your dad thought of when you booked a ticket to Wembley was, we can see Connor's quiff from there. I genuinely can't believe that. That made my morning, that did, when you said that. Anyway, right, should we start with... Oh no, it's throat. I'm back. I'm still here. Barry, Le Tissier signed a contract, 4 years. How excited are you the fact we've managed to tie down such an important player?
I've got to be honest, I don't know what's more exciting, whether it's Le Tissier signing a 4-year contract or just the absolute tenterhooks that I'm on as whether you're going to stay, go, drop off. But honestly, I've not known tension like it since 1999, I don't think. Listen, this is potentially the biggest news that we could have had this season. Genuinely, if you sit and think about just 3 or 4 weeks ago where we were sat, what we were thinking, it was all looking pretty negative. We weren't getting very good results. There was the potential of us dropping into 5th position, possibly even further down, and it wasn't looking good. The style of play wasn't really there. We wasn't having the impact that we wanted to have on the WSL, and it all just seemed a bit grim, didn't it? And we've hit a point now where obviously Maya has signed a 4-year contract, which is just absolutely amazing out of nowhere. She is the future, I think, of this football club. The people like Maya Le Tissier, people that can be young but are already in the starting lineup. You can build your team around these sorts of people, and that's certainly something that Mark Skinner mentions in his interviews that he's done this week. So I think from that point of view, that's massive. And then, of course, reaching the FA Cup final as well, it puts a much shinier tint on the way this season was going, because it was starting to look a little bit on the depressing side, and now all of a sudden we've kept a player. And this is the thing, last season we didn't. We were all sat here rubbing an ahhing, are we going to keep Leslie Russo? We kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that Onat was going to go. But this one is absolutely huge, because there is again questions being asked. Will players want to stay if Mark Skinner stays? And I think the fact that we don't know whether Mark Skinner's staying yet or not, and we've got a player of Maya Le Tissier's calibre stepping up and saying, I want to be at this football club for the next 4 years and committing, just says everything we need to know about the players and their unity. So I think it gives us a lot of positivity and a lot of good things to look forward to as we progress into the summer. And it's been a really big news day for United. So, yeah, absolutely delighted.
I've got no idea what you just said because it cut out about 7 or 8 times throughout that. This is going to be the worst show. I've gone again.
Did you hear everything, Alex? Did you hear everything I said?
Yeah, that was perfect.
No, we're having a great time over here. Everything's wonderful.
Great answer.
I think I'm back. I don't know. I'm just going to say, yeah, it's really good. I'm going to keep my things so short. I think it's the biggest news we've had because I'm getting sick of us building up players and then moving on using United, a bit of like a stepping stone. So 4 years, I think, is crucial. It keeps freezing, so I can't tell whether you can hear a word of what I'm saying. I'm not going to carry on anyway.
We can. It's like an echo because you repeated a lot of what I just said. It's quite good.
But I don't know what to say. I'm so annoying. This is really annoying me. I can't do the show properly. Alex, have you got any thoughts on it in terms of Maya signing? Was that expected? Do you think?
I think from an outsider's point of view, it's a statement of intent. I think even if you look at Ineos, I wasn't sure if they would invest in the women's team properly. I always think about the cycling team when they took over Team Sky in 2019, I think. It was kind of everyone thought, oh, they'll build a women's team and kind of make it equal. They haven't done that, so I wasn't sure what they'd do with the United. But so yeah, sign one of the best centre backs in the league, one of the youngest, a future like rising, well, not even rising star now, and it's a massive statement of intent, and it's completely different to last season. When you lost key players, obviously it still might happen this summer. From a Spurs perspective, who knows what happened with Clinton, but considering the season you've had, it's a massive moment to get it sealed.
I got bits of that. I got something about Grace, I think. I can't do it like this. I'm going to have to join on my phone, I think, Barry, because this is just, I genuinely can't hear what either of you two are saying. You've muted, though. I can see that.
I'm muted. Well done. See, we're just testing what you can do. Yeah, you crack on. Do what you need to do, because I'm going to throw up what James has mentioned here. Is there any proof Ineos was involved with this? And whilst, I mean, like, they are quite a big part of the club now, and they're quite clearly trying to implement the structure. Jason Wilcox, for example, being announced already today, and we know that Dan Ashworth is looking like he's going to come in. So there's lots of things coming in at the moment, and whilst it may not necessarily mean that Ineos are particularly in charge of this, don't forget we've brought in I can't remember the guy's name, but somebody to replace Polly Bancroft as well from the academy. So we know we're in a situation where we are capable of seeing change at the club. And so whilst I would say there's no hard proof, I can't show you anything, I would certainly suggest that all signs are pointing towards that happening. But yeah, superb news for us as a football club. But this is indeed a Spurs preview. So we're going to take it down to the football-esque discussion that we were planning on having. And in order to do that, we've got Alex, as you can see here. Connor didn't really get the chance to do a proper introduction because he didn't have a clue what was happening. The world had sort of just imploded on him, and he didn't actually know if anyone could hear him. So Alex, of course, is here. He's been covering Spurs for the last year and for the whole season. So welcome to the show, Alex. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Perhaps you could give us a little idea of what you've made of Spurs this season, because Spurs within the women's game last year weren't doing particularly well. They were struggling, very hit and miss. They've still been a little bit inconsistent this season, but the performances have been far better. Martha Thomas obviously going over there, and of course Grace Clinton as well. And 100% that the results and the games have been much better from Spurs. What have you made of them this season?
Well, it's gone against my expectations. It was kind of very similar to the men's team in the summer, where we appointed Villahan and appointed Postecoglou. It's this attacking style of football that was hopefully going to bring results and even trophies further down the line. Even saying the word trophies to Spurs feels crazy, but we are now just one match away with the women's team. But yeah, it's just gone so much better. I was looking at my preview today, and I thought we'd finish ninth. It's 99% sure now we'll finish in the top six because we played 2 games less than Villa. I think we're 6 points clear or something. So top six is pretty much guaranteed. And the style of football has been incredible. Start of the season, it was very attacking, but there wasn't much control. We were conceding a ton. You never really knew what was going to happen, which from my point of view was really entertaining to watch and gave me tons to write about. But you could see it wasn't always going to bring the results. And then when you came around to playing Man City and then United, it all showed for a 7-0 defeat that I think everyone wants to forget. Villahan is still going on about how he's scarred from that match. And then the 4-0 defeat to United was woeful. Probably even worse than the Man City match. There was just nothing there. And you kind of thought, right, we're on the right path, but it's going to take time. But then after the winter break and that 4-3 win against West Ham, which was also complete chaos, no one really knew what was happening. It's been so much more controlled. There's been attacking football, there's been some really nice styles of play. But defensively, it's been so much better. Molly Bartrip's been injured and ill, but even when she's out, Amy James Turner and Luana Bula have come in and done a really good job. Fullbacks wise, Nilden came in January, has done brilliantly. and right back, Ashley Neville's been brilliant, and Charlotte Grant as well. So, like, you look at it compared to last season, where essentially Spurs didn't get relegated last season because of Bethany England. This season, Bethany England's only scored one league goal, has struggled with injury for the first 5 months, and still isn't fully fit. You just compare it to last season; it's so different, and it's similar to the men's team. I don't think anyone can quite believe it. It's positive, and Spurs don't do positivity.
No, tell me about it. They don't always, to be fair. We Connor update at the moment. He was in and he was listening backstage and he heard everything. And then he told us that he heard everything and it was looking good. And then, of course, the minute he said that, it all went wrong. So he's just dropped out again. So this could be one of the most interesting and entertaining ones we've ever had. But we shall see. See, I agree with you. I mean, the United season hasn't gone. I think they've been very contrasting fortunes. You look at how Spurs, as I say, quite inconsistent last season, but have had a much better season this season. United, I think, from our point of view, have had a trickier situation because we was such a positive vibe around the club at the beginning of the season, and then injuries, poor results, not as many good results against the big three, and as a result, obviously, we ended up dropping down the league and not being within the top four, missed out on the Champions League, and just very contrasting fortunes. And as I say, sending Clinton and Clinton on loan and selling Martha Thomas as well. Amy Turner obviously being an ex-Red as well. It's really very interesting seeing how the two seasons have sort of mirrored each other, but from a different perspective. So, yeah, it's been a good one. But let's look at our little runs to Wembley, because you mentioned the City game, and from my point of view, I've maintained I think the best game that we've played so far this season, the match that we've enjoyed the most, was the game against Brighton. Superb result, superb match, just knocking the ball about properly. It was a proper game of football where we were just in control. The fans could enjoy it. There was no jeopardy to it. It was really, really enjoyable. And the thing was, at 4-0, we go and win that. And then we're starting to look at the other matches across the tournament. And of course, we knew that Spurs were playing Manchester City. And I think, to be fair, there probably wasn't very many people who felt that Spurs were going to go and beat Manchester City. And when you watch that game, it was a really interesting one because it was an absolute colossal battle. And it just took everything from Spurs. But they really did put a lot of effort into that. And then by the same token, as much as they did really well to get past that one, they then hit that dizzy heights of being the favourites probably in the game against Leicester. And of course, for them, had to go behind a goal before they finally managed to put it back, turn it to 2-1. So talk to us a little bit about your run to Wembley, because we've just riding on a high, superb performance against Brighton, an all right performance against Chelsea, where we actually managed to nick the win. So what's it been like for Spurs? Tell us a little bit about your run to Wembley and how those matches were and how they were received by fans in general.
Well, Spurs' run it's been classic Spurs. It hasn't been straightforward at all. Because the first match, it was at home to Sheffield United, and after 60 minutes, we were 2-0 down at home. And it was like, right, Villaham always said they wanted a cup run, and this was part of the plan for the whole season. And when you're 2-0 down at home to Sheffield United, who were in this whole scandal, obviously, it was like, this isn't ideal. And then suddenly you score 3 goals in half an hour to scrape through with a 96th minute winner, and you're like, great, we're through, but that was a really, really poor performance. And then you go to the next round and you get lucky again, you get another championship team in Charlton at home. And it's like, right, this is the perfect opportunity to get into the quarterfinals, that would have been. And again, it wasn't a great performance. Really, really just about deserved it, but not by much considering the level of opposition. And it came through quite a late goal from outside the box from Kit Graham to get through to quarterfinals. And of course, City beat Arsenal that round. It was like, right, I don't mind who we get, but no Spurs fan wanted City because we'd played 3 matches previously, lost 7-0, lost 2-0, I think then 1-0. We'd conceded 10 goals in 3 matches. It was like, I think everyone was kind of scarred by that City team. And then it came up and you thought, brilliant, this is classic Spurs. We will never get a decent cup run. And then you go 1-0 down in the match against City, and you're like, well, we tried, but it's over. We've got no chance now. And then even the performance that day, it was a deserved win. It wasn't a smash and grab against City. It wasn't a performance that you thought, right, they've got lucky there. It was superb. And obviously the goal was lucky because it was a key team mistake. But they went from that, dominated extra time, probably should have scored. And then to win on penalties, Spencer had a brilliant save against Chloe Kelly. Not many people save a Chloe Kelly penalty. And at that point, you had knocked out City, that one of the teams that are the favourites to win WSL, and it's like now you only didn't want United or Chelsea because you knew if you got Leicester, with no disrespect to Leicester, but Spurs have been a lot better than them this season, and then you got them at home, and then you had them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's like this is a historic moment. But then in classic Spurs fashion, of course, you went 1-0 down in 10 minutes. You thought, brilliant, this is so Spursy, where all this expectation, all this thought of, right, we're getting to Wembley. Spurs haven't been in an FA Cup final since 1991. And you go 1-0 down at home in a semi-final with nearly 20,000 fans there. It's like brilliant. But then even the performance against Leicester was really, really poor. Until 80 minutes, everyone in the press box kind of thought, yeah, this isn't Spurs' day. But then another mistake from Josie Green on Sunday. Naz scored, and then right at the end, Thomas, obviously former United, with a classic Thomas goal, looping header, but such hard work. And it's like now we're at Wembley, and now you've got Spurs fans complaining about not enough tickets because everyone wants to go to Wembley. Spurs don't go to Wembley. Our last match there was during COVID. So it's crazy.
No, it's really interesting. And like you say, I think I can't remember what the stat was that we said on the show the last time we did this, but I'm sure it was something like almost 20 odd years since we've had a club that wasn't Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City in the FA Cup final. So yeah, it's been a long old time. Now, as I said to you, this is a really interesting show because I've done a lot of things in my time. I've done all sorts of presenting, and whether that be in person or on things like this, and I don't mind it. I love it. This is, without doubt, the strangest situation I've ever been in my life because I came here to answer questions, and I've got some questions that are sort of written down, and I was thinking I'm going to have to ask myself these questions in a minute because I don't quite know how to do this. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, All for United WFC would like to introduce to you the man, the myth, the legend, the quiff, Mr. Connor Roberts.
I can't believe you just done that.
And now I'm going to go back over here, and hopefully, if you could all just cross your fingers and your toes for the next 40 minutes, that we might actually have a show on. Let's see what's going on. Otherwise, it'll be insane.
No, I'm not. I'm so glad my camera was on and I was away from. This is ridiculous. I'm now on 4G, so if I lose internet again, it means O2 has gone down and I've lost my mobile data. This is really putting my mobile data to the test. Thank everything that's unlimited, so we're good on that front. Right? Can I just quickly? I know you've spoken about other. Can I quickly go back to May because I really wanted to talk about at the start. Just very quickly, what the point I was trying to make.
It's your show.
Start of that. What I was trying to say was, I think this is the biggest one that we've got done purely because of her age and everything else. The length of the contract, I think, is long. For the women's game, we're seeing it a little bit more now, but 4 years is a long time for her to commit. I think that's great. She's one of our best players that we've got anyway. So for somebody like her to be convinced, it gives me hope. One, that Ineos have got better plans for the women's team, but it also gives me hope that there's other players looking at it now going, maybe this is the place to be, at United, and maybe thinking about their own contracts that are coming up as well. We've got a lot: Jade, Grace, Mary, Keatsell, Lucia, and Rachel as well, all out within the next year. So there's a lot of things there to look at as well, and I do expect there's going to be some other changes elsewhere, in terms of the coaching setup and all those kind of things coming very soon as well to keep an eye on. So yeah, I think it's very good. I just wanted to get that in there because that's what I wanted to say earlier. But there we are. What did you ask? What have we spoken about so far? Because obviously I've been
a good question because I kind of looked at your stuff, but of course it was all Spurs at the top, and then it took me a while to realise that United questions are at the bottom. So we've asked him about Spurs getting to Wembley. Obviously, not quite what it means to the club, but just how they got there and how they were feeling about that. and how they've done so far this season. And yeah, that's kind of the conversation that we've had so far. I've taken our little route to the final as well. So yeah, you crack on. If you repeat something, I'll just go, I've already answered this, kind of move on next.
No, for sure. Okay, fine. Honestly, I've been completely thrown off at it. This does not usually happen to me, which is why it's completely thrown me on this one. There was so many comments as well I wanted to bring up at the time as well, so I'm gonna have to go back through and try and find some of them on that one. What I will say though, just to really dampen them a little bit, I wouldn't get your hopes up on Lucia signing a new one at the moment. It may change, but I wouldn't get your hopes up on Lucia. I think if any one of those 6 or 5 that we've got out in the summer are leaving, I think Lucia is probably the bet I would put on right now. But at the end of the day, I don't know anything. I'm just a fan that talks on here. Barry, I'll ask you then, because you've just been asking the questions. Obviously you've just asked Alex about the final. Obviously Spurs getting. Obviously we got there at last Sunday as well. Do you think there's an element of we've got 3 league games in between now and Wembley that not that the players won't be on it as much, but because that we're not really fighting for anything in the league, that most of our attention now is going to be on Wembley, and these games are going to be a little bit not hard to watch, but very much just going through the motions a little bit, until we get there.
Yes and no. I think there's the opportunity for that to be the case, and of course, Mark Skinner would argue that the players are 100% going to be committed and wants to finish as high as they possibly can. There's 2 ways this can go. Some of them are going to be sitting there not wanting to get injured, still wanting to be a part of the FA Cup final. So as a result, they're going to want to be potentially not going into challenges as heavy and as hard as perhaps as they might normally. They might be a little bit more apprehensive about what they're doing. So there is that sort of element to it as well. But I think a decent manager would be able to get the players to fully understand that these next 3 weeks are the audition time, effectively. It's the ability for them to make their case to be in that FA Cup final squad, and specifically the starting lineup. The world will sit here and know that they think they can probably name Mark Skinner's side before Mark Skinner's even done it. And that's probably a fair point. The thing is, when you listen to Mark speak, he talks about the consistency as much as I do as well, about keeping a consistent team. And that worked last season, because last season we were battling for the title as well as the FA Cup. So it was one of those where we were trying to compete on both fronts. This time we're not. We're not going to reach top 3. It doesn't matter what we do for that. That's not going to happen. We can't win the league. So it's not that important. So I would 100% be using these games to try and get a team that is fully energized and ready for the FA Cup, and hopefully to give people, like, for want of a better thinking than this, Jays, your Haley Ladds, your Guerreros, your Melvin Mallards, even your Tullis Joyces, the opportunity to be invigorated, I suppose, into thinking that they might have a chance. Because if you already know what your starting 11 is and you're not going to deviate from that, then 100% we're just going to end up going through the motions, because those players will already know that they're likely to be playing, and there's every chance they're going to sit back. So yeah, I think that's a really good question, actually, because it gives us an insight into what these players are going to be like. And it's not one that we really spoke about last year, because we were so narrow-minded about winning the league. But this year, it's a very different kettle of fish. And, Spurs shouldn't be taken lightly. And this is almost a dress rehearsal for that game as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I asked that question because I'm glad you liked it, by the way. I'm glad I managed to get some of my questions. Is that the first question I managed to get out, stress-free?
Don't say things like that, though. We've still got another half an hour to get through.
Honestly. But there we are. No, I tend to agree, because I think someone's just put it in the chat as well. Chance to use the bench players, opportunity to rest them as well. I agree with this one. Perfect time for her. If she can't get any minutes in these 3 league games we've got coming off, when we're not really fighting for anything, and obviously a lot of the players that you would expect to start the final are going to be playing as well. I don't know why we record her, because as I said before, we record her because of lack of minutes. Well, give us some minutes then, because what's the point in recording? We may as well have kept her at Everton as well. And yeah, I wouldn't say obviously should be using the better. Yeah, I agree with the players you listed. Obviously, with JC, obviously didn't play the last game. Mark Skinner's come out today and said that she was ill. For that one, would take his word for it. I think when you've got players like Hayley Land, Miyazawa coming back into the team as well, I think that's another potential player that you would start looking in these 3 games to have some minutes. So I think there's potential there for a few of those players. There was a question a bit earlier on. Just wanted to very quickly get to before I come back to Alex. I don't know whether you answered this or not. Did you? Did everyone buy their ticket? Oh, there we are. So very quickly, I have a feeling this is not going to go to general sale. This is just a feeling. I don't know anything. I've not spoke to anyone. So don't take what I've just said as gospel. But just looking at the ticket sales today, they've gone a lot faster than they did last season. And when you look at, I've not checked for the last. I'm not going to check either because I don't want my 4G to go any slower than it may well do. But the first and second tiers were sold out, and the top tier, I think 2 blocks are already gone anyway. So, I mean, it's good in terms of, you're looking at it, from that point of view. I feel for some people that I know that may miss out if it doesn't go to general sale. But at the end of the day, if we can sell out 12,000 straight away, I think, Alex, I did hear you talking about that Spurs fans maybe weren't as happy that there's only 12,000. But Spurs don't start selling, do they, until, is it next week, next Monday? I don't think you start selling till.
Yeah, I think season ticket holders is Monday, and then like people that have bought a ticket at like Brisbane Road this season is Tuesday, and then general sale or membership, one or two Wednesday. But yeah, we'll sell 12,000 before it even gets to general sale. So it's good to see. It's good to see for women's football.
It definitely is. I think as Sports said, tickets flying out. They literally were, within the first thing they were gone. So, yeah, that's great to see. It raises whole other questions that is potentially for another show about this whole, the fact that Wembley or the FA or whatever had sold out so many tickets to neutral fans or Chelsea and Arsenal City fans, obviously hoping to get to the final, and they're not in it. So now, for me, there's got to be a process of returning those tickets to the clubs, so then the clubs can then go and sell. When the finalists, they should be returned, in my opinion.
Just to point out, well, I think when Connor's talking about general sale, he means general sale to the Manchester United people. I don't think he means just necessarily to anybody, like Rotherham fans, for example.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, so United initially were going to put. They still might, if they don't sell to members and season ticket holders, they will go to general sale from a United end point of view. But no, yeah, but like I said, the 60, because I'm pretty sure they start selling tickets for next year's final pretty soon. It's not far away, and it's like, why? I don't know. I know why, but I think there should be more allocation for each end. Save 20,000 back, for example, or something like that. Not 12. Although we're grateful. Yes, it's going to be incredible. I honestly can't wait. It's literally all I've thought about since Sunday. So I cannot wait for it on that one. Do United still do tokens in the program to be eligible for it? I genuinely don't know.
That's way back in the olden days, that one. I shouldn't imagine so, no. They've gone on to different things. It's about attending lots of different games. You have to attend them, really, to be having a chance for it. So, yeah, it won't be about programs anymore. But that was a good throwback, that one. I like that. I wish I had I don't have it on here. I have it on the men's channel. But I do. Look, there we go. Yeah, back. Honestly, it was brilliant. Back in it, just cut little bits off of the pro. Oh, yeah, it was quite funny, those. I enjoyed them. It's like when we wanted the Sun £9.50 holidays. That's what I used to do. Yeah,
I can't believe it. Can I just quickly address them as well? You may be in the chat. Someone tagged me in something on Twitter asking if I would diss AC/DC or something like that. I'm like, no chance. Just because I don't like Queen. AC/DC are way above, but that's a whole other conversation. Which
can't be AC/DC. They've got the power.
That's terrible. I think we'll be getting flags. There we are. Anyway, I'll go back to you, obviously, from a Spurs point of view, Alex. In terms of, I don't know whether Barry asked this, in terms of Spurs' season so far. Obviously, we know, you got to Wembley. So have you asked that one? You have? Okay, fine. I'll move on to a player then. Grace Clinton. Obviously a player that's known to both United and Spurs. This season, obviously, the Spurs manager, Robert, has been very open that Spurs want her on a permanent. She's got 1 year left on her deal. What do you think is going to happen with her, and how impressed have you been, with her, at Spurs this season?
With just how good she's been, I didn't think she'd be this good. I don't think anyone really thought she'd be this good. Obviously, in the Championship last season, Bristol City played really well, but it's a big step up, I would say, from the Championship to the WSL. Bristol City have found that out the hard way this year. But she's in a league of her own as Spurs' best player. Technically, she can turn on the halfway line, drive forward, and then normally find a teammate consistently. There are matches where she's kind of marked out of the game, but she's only 20, 21 years old. I can't remember now. And that comes with experience. She's going to take time, but she's been incredible. She could do more goals and assists probably, but again, that comes with time, and also coming with a better team. Obviously, it's not easy to score against the best teams when you're like Spurs. The one against Arsenal was a 1-0. Chelsea, they only scored 1 goal. Didn't score against United, of course. So that, it will come. But what do I think will happen in the summer? I hate sitting on the fence, but I generally have no idea. I think Spurs will go for it 100%. They'd be stupid not to after the season she had, but then I'm not sure if they'd be willing to pay the fee that it would take to sign Clinton. She's essentially England's best talent, or best young talent. It would take an astronomical fee to kind of sign her, but Spurs have said they'll invest with the club and that they're here to take part in women's football. They're here to challenge for trophies. So if they really want to do that, they make a statement of intent and try and sign her. But I hate sitting on the fence. I don't know. I wish I did.
It's going to be really interesting. You mentioned obviously about the fee that potentially is going to be required. She has only got 1 left, but I think this would be an incredible. To me, it'll depend on what. Because I don't know. Part of me is thinking she might be here next season, but I agree with Mira. I think she probably wants to stay at Spurs. I think if she had a choice, I think she would probably go there. But I think from a United's point of view, it depends which United it is. Because if it's the United and Mark Skinner that said, no one's for I go back to Jackie Groen when we sold her. No, she's definitely not for sale. Not for sale. She's not leaving. We go to pre-season with her, and then we sell her, and then Mark goes, "Oh, everyone's got a price." So it depends which one are we? Are we that no, we're not selling her at any cost? But then if Spurs go and whack 250k on the table, are we going to go, "Oh, actually, like we'll accept that"? So I think it depends on United really in terms of where they sit, in their own stance with. I'd love her back at United, but equally, if she doesn't want to be here. At United, we don't know that. I'm speculating. I just think she looks really happy at Spurs and would likely want to go back there. Is it better to maybe let her go? I don't know. I think the next few months are going to be really telling for United. I've said that all along. But you're right, Emma, and that's the thing. The amount of midfielders we've got, with Grace potentially back as well, Emma coming back from injury, like. We've got loads. So if she comes back in for next season, I think 2 have got to go out because we've just got too many. You can't have 8, 9 players for 3 positions. There's all right having depth. Sometimes you can have a bit too much in one position. So yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon, Bag? So you weren't on the show that I think it was me. I can't remember who did it. It was me, Karis, and I'm going to say Jess. It might have been Charlie. Sorry to whoever it was that was on that show. But yeah, what do you think is going to happen with Grace? Because as Alex said there, she's clearly been Spurs' best kind of player this season. But United have got a big decision to make this summer.
Well, I mean, Skinner's already been asked about that. Obviously, the fact that she's been out and done what she's done, and it's really interesting because she has played incredibly well for Spurs. I mean, she did exceptionally well in the first season on loan. To then go to Spurs in the WSL and perform as well as she has done has just shown her quality, and not just play well at Spurs, but earn an international call up as well. And everything seems to have been happening while she's been playing at Spurs. And I fully understand from a player's point of view that, you come to a club signing from Everton thinking that you're going to be perhaps given an opportunity, and instead of getting that, you end up being put out on loan, only playing a pre-season game. And then when you come back from loan, where you've done quite well, rather than being told, yeah, we'll try and integrate within the team and give you more minutes, you get sent out again. And, this time though to Spurs. And I think the elevation of the loans show that we knew she had the potential, and that potential is now being realised, which I think is really important. So for us, I think it's really important that we keep her. I saw High Lane liken it to the Kirsty Hansen situation potentially, and I do agree that it's got the potential to end up like that, because Kirsty really enjoyed playing at Villa. Villa really enjoyed having her there, and obviously as the season came to an end, we're all hoping, well, we're going to get Kirsty Hansen back and maybe she'll be able to perform. But I think the difference between Kirsty and Grace, with the greatest of respect, apart from just age, is that they're very different types of players. And I think Grace has gone out there and proved it at a club where, scores have been and results have been inconsistent last season, and she's helped to turn that club around and get them to, as Alex says, their first FA Cup final in over 30 years. So that's massive. And you speak about Mela Tissier and say how it has annoyed you that we've let some of our best players go in the past. To me, this is one of those where if you're truly looking at building for the future, and if you're truly looking at trying to build this club, you do not let Grace Clinton disappear when she has shown how good she can be, because she's an England international, and she is now someone who has performed incredibly well over a good period of time this season in the very league that we compete in. So, yeah, I think she's got to stay. And I think, yes, she might want to go, but contracts are there for a reason. And just because she wants to go doesn't, or again, just because she wants to go, doesn't mean that she has to go. It's tricky. You don't want to keep people that don't want to be here, but equally, I would defy most players. Surely they would want to be playing at Manchester United if the opportunity arose. She signed for us for a reason. Unless, of course, there's other elements that are going on. So I don't know, but for me personally, yeah, she has to stay. I think selling her would be an incredibly poor piece of business from us, no matter how much money we got for her.
I think you're right. I think, as Mia said, it's guaranteed starting place, or at least a certain number of minutes, because there's literally no. But she's far too good to come back and just sit on the bench, because that would be a complete waste. And she's not going to want to do that with England tournaments coming up and things like that. She wants to obviously push on into the Lionesses. She's already established herself as well.
But with the greatest respect, Mia's not coming at this from a Manchester United fan's point of view. We want strength in depth. We've spent all this time talking about Chelsea. We were in that game against Chelsea, and we looked at the bench, and their bench was ridiculous. They're bringing on players that have got superb quality. And we're sitting here going, we might have to bring on one of our devs at this point. And that's not a good situation to be in. So I agree with you. She shouldn't be. She is too good to sit on the sidelines, but we need competition. I think we've all been talking all season about Ella Toon as to whether she's been at the level she should be or not. For me, you've got to have someone like Grace Clinton who can actually give her a run for her money. I mean, we've got Emma Watson to come back as well from injury, but there's no guarantee she's going to be straight in at the level that she would want to be in either. So for me, no. I mean, I get what you're saying, I really do, but we can't look at it from an outsider's point of view, or even that empathetic point of view. If we genuinely want to challenge for things in this club, you've got to have the strength in depth, in my opinion.
No, I agree, but I think sometimes you can have too much. As I said, you can't have 9 for 3. In my opinion, that's just not going to work, especially with a manager that would, I don't know what says, he doesn't rotate that much anyway. So, that's just not gonna work in my book. I really don't know. Like I said, part of me thinks she might end up staying. And I think a lot saying I think Grace wants to come back, but only if she can 2 games. She's well within her right to go look at the season I've just had, and ask for that, with a talks as well. And yeah, obviously referencing asking his conference saying that he wants Grace next season. I mean, he's going to say that, isn't he? He's always going to come out and say it'd be stupid not to after the season she's had, not to want her for next season.
What I did find interesting from his interview about that was that he actually says, just forget about the football for a minute. Actually, Grace is a player who, when you just talk to about football and life, is a very deep thinker. You could speak to her for hours about the game. And I'm just thinking, that's lovely. It's nice that you're coming up with these. But actually, let's talk about Grace Clinton just as a footballer. It's very interesting. His press conferences really do make you sort of question what's going on in the world quite regularly. But yeah, like I'm pleased there's just people that agree with us. But I do just also want to point out it's irrelevant whether she wants to come back or not. She's under contract. So people are saying, I think she'll only come back when she won't have a choice. She can't just go, I'm not coming. Because if she does, she'll be in breach of contract, and that would not be a great thing. So if we want her back, she'll have to come back. It's then just a question of how happy she is. So
yeah, no, like I said, I would build the team. I think we've locked down one of the spine of the team in Maya. I would be trying to lock down Grace as well. And that's your second one. Obviously, we need a younger forward, I guess. If you want to, as good as Rachel and Keats have been this season, it's a bit on the older side. So, get a younger, kind of forward in as well. I think obviously Mary as well, potentially as your keeper. I think we've got a very good spine there, as well as other players around them. Lisa's still got a couple of years left. Guerrero, the reports recently, she doesn't want to leave either. So, and like we said, Emma, Miyazawa, Zell's still there potentially, and Tony as well. So there's quite a lot of depth in midfield on that one. While we're on the conversation of Grace, Alex, I want to throw it back to you because there was a question for you in terms of how obviously Grace isn't available for Sunday with it being a loan. We saw how it went in the previous meeting, as you've mentioned, the 4-0 down there as well. Will Spurs adapt, or will they change kind of how they play? How much relies on Grace being in that midfield in terms of what Spurs have done this season and how they play?
I think at the start of the season, Spurs were reliant. I think everyone could kind of see that, and even when Clinton came off, because she couldn't really last 90 minutes at the start of the season, Spurs looked worse. Now, though, I don't think that's the same case, particularly after the January transfer window, where we signed Matilda Wimberg and then Drew Spence came back from injury. I think there's kind of a idea that Spurs can play without her. I mean, even against Leicester on Sunday, she came off 70th minute, 60th minute maybe. And then, of course, Spurs scored the 2 goals after she came off. So there's definitely not reliant, but there's a few players I think could play for her. It will either be Wimberg. There's a potential that Villa will go for Thomas and England. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think it's worked all season, but I think eventually he'll want to, because at the end of the day, Thomas and England are Spurs' 2 best players essentially in the final third. Drew Spence could also play further forward, and then you could either play Kit Graham or Olga next to Evelina Simonon, or however you say her name. So there's few options. I'm not sure what it will be. Villa said he had a plan yesterday, but obviously he's not going to tell the media that 3 days before the match. So we'll have to wait until 1 hour before kickoff. But they're definitely not reliant, and it will be interesting. I think it'll be a lot closer than it was in December. I don't want to jinx that. I really don't want to.
I want to come back to the 2 forwards you just mentioned there in just a second. Lot, you're now my favourite person. Yes. Turning up front. Yes. Absolutely love her. I think she would be an exceptional forward. I'm just going to be banging that drum like for ages until she inevitably goes to like, I don't know, Wolfsburg or something, and she goes tearing up in the Champions League with somebody else. Yes, 100% on that one. Yeah, Simon's obviously mentioning Mallard. We're obviously going back to building a kind of a spine and things like that. Mallard's only 23. Again, another player I would be keeping. We're not getting Pyre anymore. She's looking like she's going to Barcelona. Mallard's right there. She's been with us for a year. We've got an option to buy, and it would be cheaper than Pyre anyway. I don't know why we wouldn't. I really don't, but there we are. How old is 24? I'm gonna say she's younger than people think. I'm sure she's early low 20s. Barry's gonna Google it now to fact check me. I think 24. Or is she younger than 22? There we go. See,
I beat you to it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, forward like that. At that age, banging goals in a struggling Brighton team.
It's because you can't use your computer at the moment. That's the only reason I did it. Not making me out to be a deviant all the time.
Honestly, I've got no other tabs open but this one. I've got nothing open on my phone. Like, just everything I've got on my 4Gs on put it into this. Yes, that's what I mean. Just Mallard and Turland. That would just be. I would love that. Would be my favourite transfer window if we got both of those two over the line. Which brings me to a question, and I've not asked this for a while because it's not kind of been fully relevant on previews. Barry hates this question, so I'll come to a second on it. Alex, are you looking at it from a Spurs point of view? You can swap one player from the United team into Spurs' 11. Whoever you swap then has to start for Spurs, and obviously that then takes somebody out of the Spurs 11. Who are you taking from United to kind of move into the Spurs team to make them, make them better?
That's a good question. Ooh. I think it's actually going to be linked to the start of this show. Tissier. So yeah, she signed a 4-year contract. We'll take her. I think that you got a lot of talented players, but a lot are kind of dependent on confidence, I'd say, in the final third. Obviously, Toon on her day can be world class. She's shown that before, but she isn't consistent. I think this is probably one of your more consistent players. And we could definitely. I think Spurs will look for a centre back in the summer. So if that can happen, please make it.
That's an intro. I knew as soon as I asked this. James, do you know what? That's thinking outside the box, and I like that. Right, I'm going to throw a caveat. You can't say Grace, Barry, because she's technically employed by United. So you can't say her.
Bloody name I've written down there as well.
I can't think. Genuinely, I'm struggling, to be fair. This is tough from a Spurs, especially because they've got to start. That's what I'm struggling with.
I must admit, I'm struggling from a United point of view who you're taking Spurs. Not that we're bad. We're not that bad, everyone.
I wouldn't swap. Maybe Beth England, I would.
It's a bit of a tough one, but I suppose part of me is wondering, do we bring back Martha Thomas? Do we say to her, do you know what? You've proven now that you know where the goal is. So if you just remember where that is, that would be superb, thanks. And let her come and play. Because we could do with someone on that sort of right-hand side, potentially. A bit of a change about there. I think I'll tell you what I'll go for. Let's go for...
I think I know where this is going.
Is it going to be? Well, are you thinking I'm going to say
centre half?
Turner.
Amy, yeah. That's what I thought you were going to go for.
Potentially one I was thinking of, but I think it would make sense, wouldn't it, to bring in somebody defensive, considering the situation we're in.
Oh God, is he going to say?
So I'm going to go with Amy Turner just because I'm sentimental and she's the answer that I always give you when you ask me this question about Spurs. Seeing as I can't have Grace Clinton, who is the obvious answer here. But so potentially Martha Thomas would be my other one to bring back, just because we know that she's good quality when she wants to be. But to score a goal would be good. So that maybe one of the fullback, but Turner can do that as well. So we just need to bolster the defence a bit.
That's not a bad shout as well. Nilden, another defender, then 25 as well. This is a tough one because I said I wouldn't take any of the out of the 11. But a fully fit United 11, I wouldn't swap any really. Maybe Grace goes in. But that's about it. I think on that one. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. The only other one, the comment that James made, that's brilliant. No one's ever said the managers before. So that's quite...
Well, I didn't know that was in the rules.
Do I
you always say player, to be fair. Don't you usually say player?
I think I did say player because I said started.
I'm sure you stipulate player, otherwise I would have found a way through that before.
And gone like assistant coach or something. I don't know. No, I do agree. I do like Robert. It's...
I'll tell you what the other one was, and I didn't want to say it because people are going to laugh at me, but actually, potentially Ashley Neville.
That's what I thought you were going to say. the second year.
Like
I stand by it. She's criminally underrated. She should be in the England squad. Criminally underrated, but
she does do
still
well.
hasn't happened.
Yeah, so I think that one, if I was being serious and not just going with someone who's got a Man United edge to him, I think, yeah, because we've been struggling so much with our fullbacks this season, if we had to go and grab someone, I think Ashley Neville could do us a job at right back, and we could stick Mannion in the centre if we needed to, or, you know, she's there as a sub, so it's not her usual position, and Ashley's used to it. So, yeah, there you go. I'm going to bring Neville back to Manchester United. Just, you know, why not? Have 3 Nevilles play for the club once. You know,
Charlie Grant's another one, actually, I've just suddenly thought of. That's not a bad option as well. There's a few actually think about, but yeah, there's a few names on there. There's a quick question for you, Alex. Where is it? Kevin saying,
oh,
No chance. Simply put, no. I don't think it's a disrespect to Skinner or anything. But maybe some people will say this is biased, but I think there's a shout that Robert Villahamn is manager of the season for improving Spurs that much. Points tally will nearly be doubled from last season, hopefully. I say that hopefully. FA Cup final. So, yeah.
If Spurs win the FA Cup, he's definitely got it, I think. Or he should.
I think,
if Spurs
win
the final.
You could say is, well, it'll probably be Emma Hayes or Gareth Taylor, but I think if you look at it from a bigger perspective than just a title race, my unbiased view that everyone will say is biased is Villahamn for manager of the year. So no, I wouldn't take Skinner.
No, I'm with you, to be fair. Yeah. Well, I don't know who else, like, because everyone always says, "Oh, like the manager who wins the WSL." But if it's going to be Chelsea, well, Chelsea are expected to win it anyway. So Emma Hayes not done anything exceptional to win the league. You know, Gareth Taylor potentially is a shout if City go on and win it. But yeah, no, I think he is. You know, on that one, you look shocked, Barry. I think it's for a
I just had my mind absolutely blown.
I don't think it's as bad as you think it is.
Not having that, no. Michael Birch and I usually get on quite well, and I feel like this is another one of his gags because we've just sat here and said we've got about 700 midfielders. Forget the likes of Miyazawa, Clinton, Nelson, Guerrero. No, let's take somebody who's had multiple injuries, whack her in as the defensive midfielder, get rid of who I still believe to be our best midfielder at the club, Katie Zellum, just to throw in Grace Clinton, who, let's be clear, can't actually play for us at this moment because you told us we're not allowed to, and then bring in Amy Turner for that one. And we're doing it again. We're shifting people around to put them into positions that they don't actually belong into when we've got a plethora of players that could have gone there. Now, if that had said bring back Amy Turner and then play Grace instead of Zell, I probably could have sat there and I would have just gone at it from the whole idea of, you know, yeah, you can't have 2 of the players back and it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But the fact that we're sticking a centre-back who's been playing at right-back into defensive midfield just so that we can then play Grace Clinton and send a Zellum, and then the other midfielders still have to sit on the bench. This is what makes me giggle. We all sit here and go, Mark Skinner's such a rascal. He won't play the players. He doesn't give them a chance. Now we're putting a chuffing centre-back into centre midfield. Guerrero's still sitting there doing her knitting. I can't. What a time to be alive.
I want to see this on Sunday now and just see your meltdown on Monday when we come back to the show. It's going to be a fully changed 11. We're going to see for Man United at defensive midfield. Why not?
Why not? Because we've got no right back and she's got to be there. Unless you're playing there.
I was going to say we don't actually have any fullbacks, do we, at the minute? Well, no, Evie's back, I guess, you know, but she's got whether she's going to get a look in at the minute, I don't know. She's got much chances. Guerrero getting a look in at the moment, it seems, but hopefully, there's another player I'd like to see, actually, Rabjohn. I want to see her get some more minutes in these games coming up. Because, again, like, you know, especially in the game, like, obviously we've got Leicester coming up. You know, ones like that, why not? You know, I'm not saying, you know, play it all the time, but certainly in these games, like, you know, get some minutes in the legs.
It's a very fair point. I didn't consider it from that point of view, but yes, that is a good point.
you won't believe it. My mouse is now dying, so I'm going to have to use... Everything's gone wrong for me today, so now I'm going to have to use the track, which is just brilliant. This has not been the show for me. I was so looking forward to it as well. I was planned. We had Alex was coming on. It was ready to go. It's just been chaos.
I do have a few mouse jokes, but I won't take you through them. They're too cheesy.
That is terrible. Is there anyone? No, she's not back this weekend. She won't be back until the end of the season, as I have said for the last kind of couple of weeks. And then Mark confirmed it in his press conference today. Yeah, it'll be the end of the season. She may be back for the final, maybe Chelsea, but as I don't know whether we'll risk it or not. Alex, one more to ask you. So obviously you mentioned quite a few of the players already, obviously with the fours and things like that. Is there anyone you'd actually be watching out for, in terms of who are the danger players for Spurs, or from an attacking United point of view, who should United be, I guess, wary of, when we're attacking and things like
that? I think you'd have to say Celine Bizet. Obviously, she's kind of most well known now this season for a partnership with Alex Mitton at training, where it seemed to be kind of the dream duo on the pitch. Really attacking, really quick, can score a goal. Not too many this season, but she can be really dangerous. And I'd say she's consistent. Not consistently like one of the best in the league, but consistently a good player for Spurs. Alongside her, I think you've got Jessica Naz as well. Obviously scored against Leicester on Sunday. Before she scored that goal, she made like countless runs into the final third. Looked so dangerous, but every single time she got to the final third, she did nothing. So I kind of thought this is going to come off, because there's no point getting out to the final third and then doing nothing. But then it showed why I was in the press box and not a manager, because then she went and scored. So yeah, she can be really good. I think it's an issue of consistency of her. Can be brilliant, can look really poor. So it could be anything, but yeah, United can't be complacent, because Spurs do have players, even with no Clinton. You can't write off England, because she can obviously score. Thomas, as you know, can score. So there's potential in that attacking third.
Yeah, certainly going to have obviously have our wits about us, so to speak, on that one. I think you did just answer this when we spoke about Grace a bit earlier on, in terms of who do you think will be playing. I think you said Vimbo potentially.
Yeah, Spence slightly further forward, or Vimbo, I think, or Thomas and England. But so essentially, I don't know. That was really pointless.
You went for two forwards in the game, the reverse fixture, because I remember it was a 4-4-2 that you put out against us, and it was like, oh, that's brave. Obviously, we saw how that went throughout the game, but that was England's comeback game, wasn't it? The game in December.
Yeah, I think a midfield three probably makes more sense against you, but we'll see. Wilhelm likes the two up top, so yeah, generally don't know. I'm not doing much help here.
Well, no, it's like what Barry said earlier. It's essentially a dress rehearsal for the final. I know Mark's going to play it down, saying, "Oh, we take each game as a typical media answer." That is, but 100%, both managers are looking at this, going, "Right, what can we do in this one?" And then after the game, they're like, "Right, what worked? What didn't work? What can we change for the final?" So it's kind of you don't really get this, do you? Where you play a team in the final and then you have like a little mini preview game like a couple of weeks before. It doesn't really happen. But yeah, on that one. Michael's come back to you. I was actually yeah, there we are.
No, I was just replying to him there, but as you brought it up, yeah, no, you're fine. Listen, I was just having a bit of a moment. I think I just combusted a little bit. I'm okay now. It's fine. Put who you want in there. It's not a drama. It's because you were having a go at Zell. It's all right. It's fine.
Honestly, and I've already said to somebody, if Thomas scores the winner at Wembley and we lose, I just won't return to Wembley ever again. I don't think I could take it. Not 2 years on the bounce where we lost like to Chelsea and then losing like that. I don't think I'd be able to take it. So hopefully,
I think losing to Spurs would be embarrassing enough. You can't lose to Spurs in the final. That's our reputation for being Spursy.
I can't stop thinking about it, honestly. Like every game coming up, the next three, obviously the last. Someone did mention actually in the chat earlier on. This is our last game at LSV this season. Obviously, we do have another home game left, obviously, but that's at Old Trafford against Chelsea. So this essentially is not a send off to the players, but it's certainly the closer interaction that you get at LSV, obviously with the ground being smaller and so on. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I am the fact that the last game of the season is at Old Trafford. I get why, big game and everything else, and that's fine. But I love having the last LSV game right at the end of the season. Obviously, last year it was Liverpool away, just so you can give the team a proper send off. Old Trafford, obviously, you're quite far away from the players and everything else. So, yeah, no, I'm not a fan. There we are. My last kind of question to you then, Barry, before we come to score predictions and things like that. In terms of, I'll just reference it there at the 4-0 win in December. Our team looked very different then to what it does now. Obviously, Jade was in that team. She's not going to be playing in this one. Mallard started that game. Who else started? Ladd started in midfield. Tooney definitely started. I think that was the only change actually from this one. So maybe it wasn't as changed as I thought it was. Mallard definitely started, but Mallard was player of the match in that one. Or certainly got it from us anyway. So do you think that it's time to put her back in the team? Or what else do you think we could take from that one? This is such a media question I'm asking you. It's like you're the manager. It's like a press conference. What can we take from that game into this one? And would you change up and potentially go for like a Mallard and a Ladd in this one?
I was thinking about all the ways I could answer that question. Do I want to do it like a Sean Dyche, put it in a nice gruff voice? Do I want to be Jose Mourinho and start, having a go at you sort of thing, asking for a bit of respect? No, I think, look, the games that have gone. You can learn a little bit from them, but ultimately that game's been played. It was a long time ago, and a lot of water has passed under the bridge since then. And both sides are going to be feeling a bounce from the weekend. Spurs are going to be absolutely rocking. They are on the absolute crest of a wave. They've hit a point where their season has just massively peaked. They know they're going to be making it to the FA Cup final, something that, as we said, they've not done for such a long time. History is literally there to be made. There is going to be a new name on the FA Cup. And as a result of that, both sides, you're talking about these tickets. This is why. People have gone and bought them because from the United point of view, there's a lot of people sitting there going, well, this will be history because this will be the first major trophy that Manchester United are going to win. The thing is, the Spurs tickets will probably be selling really well because they're going to be thinking, this is our chance to win a trophy, and we haven't won one. I don't want to think how long it's been since Spurs have won a trophy in the women's game because, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, it's just like it's been owned by the big three. So I couldn't even imagine when that has been that Spurs.
I don't think they ever have they? Have they ever? I don't think they ever have either.
No.
You see, so I wasn't being disrespectful. I just didn't recall seeing their names in any of the things that I've looked at. So both sides are really buoyed. They're really pushing for something that's going to be amazing the week before the end of the season. So, yeah, I think we kind of just have to forget what's happened in the past. I still maintain it's, for us, an opportunity to give players a chance to see how they perform. In some ways, I kind of want Mark Skinner to just totally do something different. If he's going to do it, now will be the time. Stick Tallis Joyce in goal. Why not? Not because Mary Earp's done anything wrong, but literally so that when you get to that final, nothing is the same. It is a change. It is something different. So I would do that. Potentially I would start someone like Guerrero. Just for the lull, stick Mannion at left back. Stick Millie Turner at right back. Why not? Literally just mess around with it because then Spurs can't really learn anything from it. But the problem is we won't do that. And we won't do that because it's a professional football team, not a football manager. So you've got to kind of take it seriously. So no, I don't expect there to be anything much learnt from previous games. I just think that we've ultimately got to stop Liverpool from finishing fourth. As a club, we have to finish fourth. Because if we don't, it's really difficult to then say that this season has had anything positive come out of it, really, even if we do win the FA Cup, because we'll have gone from second to our lowest ever finish, and it's too divisive when we're talking about how well we've done. So no, I don't think there'll be too much that will be gleaned from it. It will just be the case of we've got to try our hardest to finish, and in different games. You're not going to be throwing Marriott's up at the death if we're 1-0 down, because it's just a league game. Whereas, of course, if it's the FA Cup final, she's going up there to try and knock the ball in the back of the net.
No, agree. I wasn't laughing at you then. What I love, every time someone mentions Fallon on the show, TJ and NT have this like back and forth. Somebody puts PTJ 3 times and 3 American flags, and someone always follows it in with the octopuses as well. It's either TJ does the American flags and PTJ, and then NT replies, or TJ does it first. Every time. I love it. Fair play to you both, because it's really consistent. Every time you mention Fallon. I keep going to move my mouse. I can't do it, can I? I'm sure they did, didn't they? Well, they definitely came up at the same time.
Yeah, same year promoted. Maybe a really bad journalist. I can't actually remember the year they were reformed. It is longer.
They definitely came up at the same time as United.
Yeah. Both promoted same year, but
yeah. Literally. I love it, because it's just, I've noticed it every time. So fair play to you both. Right, let's wrap this up with score predictions then. I've not even thought of one, to be fair. Alex, do you want to hop on first?
You actually like this one. I think I'm going to say 2-0, Man U. But FA Cup final will be all different. I hope. But yeah, this weekend 2-0. Even match, but probably a bit too much quality for Spurs.
See, I do think we'll win. I'm also not convinced it's going to be... I mean, it's not going to be a 4-0, that's for sure. I'm going to go 1-0. A rubbish little 1-0. I reckon. I'm sorry. I reckon you're all going to go there, and I don't care if it's the final match at LSV. I think it's going to be absolutely diabolical. It's going to be one of those where neither team is really trying to give much away. A battle of the Titans in that respect. So yeah, 1-0. That's what I'm going for.
Don't say that. I'm trying to convince Mia to come, so she's still in the comments. I'm trying to convince her to come to this game. It made me laugh because you said, it's definitely not going to be 4-0. The second you said that, this comment came through on us. I love it.
Maybe, just maybe, where's he gone on this one? Maybe I'm tempting fate.
I was going to say, we got our predictions wrong for the semi-final, so yeah, I tend to agree. I'm with Becky. I think 2-1, fairly boring, like you said, because no team is going to want to give too much away, are they? It's not going to be... And like I said, although fourth is going to be important, it's for the players. I don't think they're really thinking, we need to get fourth. I don't think that's really in their mind on that one.
And they're going to be hesitant, both sides. No one's going to want to miss the final.
Oh, I'll double mute myself there. No, exactly. You're right, even to decide when to get up. I've got to be up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock to get up there if I'm coming up on Sunday.
I'm presuming she means get up as in travel, not get up as in wake up, because, you are going to have to do that at some point on Sunday. Definitely
closer than me, to be honest with you. Although, I don't know, actually. I don't know. I can't actually remember. You've definitely told me there's one I've forgotten. Sorry about that. There we are. So I think I'm actually going to do 2-0. I will back it to keep a clean sheet, but yeah, I just don't think it's going to be 2.
Well, not a single one of us has said that Spurs are going to score a goal, so
it's so positive.
Yes, if you do see us about, come on, obviously, because this is probably the last time that you'll see us around again. You might see us at a couple of away games, but it's usually tougher to meet people. I see Erling's question. I'll come back to that in a second. Usually around. So I will be around after the game, floating between various people. So, yeah, if you haven't yet come over and said hello, please do, because it would be nice to meet as many of you as we do. Obviously, I've met a couple of you in the comments. It's always been really nice as well. It's just, like I said, it's been the highlight of the season. For me on that one. Right, before we round this one off then, I can't believe this. Do you know what? We went into this season, and Barry, I remember you saying this is not going to be a thing this season. We're going to move on. We're going to find something else to do. You've got no idea, Erling. You've got no idea, Alex, what's coming here, do you?
But the thing is,
no idea. No idea.
The thing is, I said that we should do that. We're not asking the questions. This is what the public want. It's all for United. It's be heard. And if they want to know, if this is what people want to know, who are we to stop that?
Should I be concerned?
It's not even a bad question. Essentially, what the question is, do you eat burgers or not?
Yeah, that's a good start.
Okay, fine. Hence why there's a burger emoji on the comment. Yes, so it's how you eat them, basically, is the question.
Is that a question? Surely everyone eats them the same way.
Depends. How would that be?
Just with your hands. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I need to know who
because
else eats a burger
there is no
differently
other
now.
alternative answer, really, is there? Not really.
You've just confused me now. I'm
just
confused.
igniting even more.
Well, would you believe that there are people out there in this world, strange people, who believe that a burger might potentially have a little bit too much grease in it, because you're definitely buying a burger because, you want something neat and tidy. So as a result, those people will cut a burger into little pieces. But some people, and I can, maybe, difficulty eating, but some people genuinely, what's the word? Deconstruct the burger. A bit like an old McDonald's breakfast muffin. And they take it apart and then they cut little bits of it and maybe a little bit of the burger there with a bit of the chips and then maybe a bit of the bread. And some people, like Connor, will do that.
Yeah, I was about to say I can see which way this is going. Looking at the comments. I don't know if you're crazy.
Honestly, you dug the knife in so much when you answered your question before you even realised what it was, and Phil did that last week as well when I asked him as well because he was just like, just like a normal person.
Knife and fork.
I still stand by it. I didn't think there was a different way, but mind blown.
You can salvage the show right here though because there's a follow-up question now that needs to be asked.
Oh gosh.
Well,
that's Queen the band, not
yeah. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Surely everyone doesn't mind Queen. I'm not a massive fan.
Oh, seriously, do you want to become the host? You might need a new one if his laptop don't get sorted.
Yeah, I'm not slightly.
I was more hopeful with that question.
I'll just point out with this one, Alex. This is the statement. I'm going to give you it in full, as any good journalist would, right? Because genuinely, as a statement, I can't believe it. Queen are the most overrated band ever. End quote.
I should just not say anything now.
Honestly,
what?
I stand by it. I still stand by that. I'm kind of glad Ella's not commenting anymore because she likes to rub it in as well. Because she literally walked over at the and Ema was with me as well. I was trying to get him on side. She walked over and was just like, "Yeah, what on earth?" I stand by it. Like it's true. And to be fair, more people are agreeing with me as well.
Yeah.
That one's got more of a thing. I did a TikTok and I put like the blind ranking thing, and Queen came off. And I put them 10. People were agreeing. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm getting some. So that one's more, I guess, popular than the other one.
I think it's your choice of words, Connor, that do it for you. It's the choice. If you just said, "I don't really like Queen," then I think you can live with that because that's just taste. But when you come out with a statement, the most overrated band ever. Like, that's just crazy. That's not even... I don't even know how you can say that.
Because they're just so highly rated by everyone, aren't they? And it annoys me when people, like, big them up. Like, listen to this song. Like, it's so, like, Bohemian Rhapsody is always the go-to. Like, it's just awful. It's not a good song. And people make it out to be like, it should be the anthem of the United Kingdom. It's just horrendous.
To say they're overrated is like just telling everyone that they're absolutely pants and that their opinion is rubbish and that they know nothing about music.
So I love that comment so much. I'll be a better man today.
Oh God, what? Have you seen James's comment here, Larry?
Oh, mate. Do you know what the only problem is, right? Is that I don't think we would be allowed to do that because it would hit the copyright, I think, or something like that. But if there is a way in which we could get that done, I'll make it happen.
Oh dear. I mean,
we will get Queen on here somehow.
No, I couldn't even tell you how that song goes. I have heard it, but I couldn't tell you how it goes, so it doesn't come to mind. So I can't comment because I can't remember what the tune is or what the lyrics are or anything for that one. Phil O'Connor said this, didn't he?
Queen, back da 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 da, guaranteed to blow your mind. A bit like that.
Sounds a bit awful. That. Anyway,
what do I say? I'm not Freddie Mercury, am I?
Yeah, Phil said I should have a show like this. You know, just once a week or once a month, even. We just have a show that's just because I probably do coming on these panel shows and speaking to the more people I do and meeting you guys at games, all that kind of thing. It's made me realise how controversial some of my takes actually are, and how like maybe I was raised on Mars and like brought over it in my teens or something. Because yeah, certainly quite something. Well, no, you're going to get one better because when we win the FA Cup, as I said, I did agree that I would sing "We're the Champions," and I'll do it at Wembley. So there'll be video of it. Someone's going to have to take it nearby, but I'm sure someone will. So there you go. You get a video of me singing, which nobody wants. So
you take a tambourine.
No chance. You wouldn't get that into Wembley. Wouldn't even let me take my water in last time. No chance of getting that in. Do you know what? I think you're on to me. Maybe I'll start another channel. I'll have 4 channels and I'll start another one. It'll be like Connor Reacts.
You should do that whilst watching like films and things like that. It would be unbelievable. Take it. Wow. Harsh. Very, very harsh.
No. I don't know what it is. What film Hyder? I don't know. No, I haven't. I haven't answered that one. That was face palming. I was sorry. Oh, I love the end of these shows. Anyway, right. Should we wrap this one? You got another show, haven't you, Barry? In 6 minutes.
Yes, mate. But I might not make it there. I'm so gobsmacked again. It's just I'm like a balloon, and I just get deflated every time I hear he said. And I know that you mean it as well, and that's what makes it worse. Like we were talking on the men's team about characters when you would go on to fan channels and things like that. And honestly, I wish this was like Goldbridge-esque, and that he was just trying to do something to make you all respond. And it's just not. He's generally that deluded. It's mental. I can't believe it.
Your comment and see it back, Kazoo. I know who that belongs to. I'm just about to send it to her. So, there was somebody there with them. Yes, I was to it now. No, I haven't. Which won't surprise you. Alex, do you want to shout out where people can find you, your socials and things like that? So obviously, I know you've covered obviously Spurs women for the majority of the season.
I should have put my Twitter in my name, but wasn't that organised. So yeah, it's Alex Mitton 10 on Twitter. But yeah, any stuff on Bavel. I'm not going to shout out Bavel, obviously, because you have me on here a lot, but such good content. If you want to read about Spurs, I'll be there. You probably don't. If you want to hear praise about Grace Clinton, I'll be there. If you want to hear Robert Villahan being manager of the year, I'll be there. So just don't take Villahan for Man U, please. Thank you.
Oh dear.
Enjoy it, guys. I don't think he's coming back anytime soon.
I love how you said I'm not going to shout out Bavel because Mia's always on here. I love that.
The best in women's football, or second best according to last year. But
yeah,
we won't be sorry.
Exactly. So make sure you go and follow Alex. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a chaotic show. I've been all over the place with questions, things like that. Because I need to go and watch the show back on, see what the start was actually like, because it was horrendous on my screen. It was probably hilarious to everyone else, but honestly, I was stressing so bad. Like, literally, that's the worst intro to a show I've ever had. So yeah, we'll be back on Monday, 7:00, talking obviously about the reactions. You guys are loyal fans that we've got in the comments that you watch us every single week, so you know when we're next live. We know it's going to be Monday, 7:00. On that one, we might have some other stuff coming. There she is. So I just said I've just sent that comment to the person with the kazoo. There she is. But sorry, Rose, we are wrapping up the show now, so I'll speak again in about 2 minutes when I get off here. So yeah, so Monday, 7:00, we are going to have some other shows coming up, like getting towards the end of the season, so we'll have some other varied things. Obviously, make sure you're following All for Women's Football as well. We've got some really exciting stuff coming up on there in the next few weeks if you're interested in some wider women's football discussion. I said if you see us on Sunday, come up, say hello, all of that kind of stuff. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing if you're new around here, and all of that kind of shit. Yeah, settle down, have a burger, and have a good weekend all. We shall see you guys on Monday.